Hi guys, welcome to another episode of Military Spouse Millionaire. Today we're going to be chatting about several things, starting with TLA and what is it? This is hands down one of the biggest topics of conversation that I help incoming military families with. So what TLA is temporary lodging allowance. And in addition to TLA, you also get per diem. So don't get those two things confused. They are different, but you do get them at the same time. So temporary lodging allowance is a pool of money that the military is going to be reimbursing you for your hotel stay. They do not cover the expense up front. It is a reimbursement that you'll have to submit paperwork for. How it works is if you are an Army family, you are allowed to stay at any TLA-approved hotel without needing a letter of non-availability. If you are Marines, Navy, Air Force, Space Force, Coast Guard, any other branch of service, you do need to get a letter of non-availability to then be able to stay at the TLA-approved hotels around the island. These letters are pretty tricky to get, so you will more than likely have to stay at lodging on base. Once you've figured out if you have to stay on base or if you're able to stay at a TLA-approved hotel, then you obviously need to move forward with booking the hotel. TLA-approved hotels and lodging on base book up very quickly. You do not need to have your hard orders in order to book your TLA-approved hotel. Even if you have soft orders and you know when you're getting here, go ahead and book it for 30 days. If you do not book it for 30 days, there is a high chance that the room will not be available for your entire stay, and you're going to need to move rooms, possibly need to move hotels, and that's a pain in the ass. So just book it for 30 days at a time. If you need to adjust the reservation down the road, you absolutely can, but just better safe than sorry. When you book the hotel, if you're booking a TLA-approved hotel off base, you need to call the local 808 phone number. Do not call the 800 number for these hotels. They are not going to have any idea what TLA is, what the TLA rate is. You need to call the local hotel here. Say, hey, I'm moving there on military orders. I need to book a TLA rate room for 30 days. That will guarantee that you get the right rate and someone who knows what they're talking about. When you check in at the hotel, you are going to need to prepay for 10 days of hotel stay. So you pay in 10-day increments. The hotel is then going to give you what's called a zero balance statement showing that you've paid for 10 days. Now, your options for this are you can use your government travel card, or like we did, because your girl loves some Amex points, we actually used our personal card and racked up the points. Also, if you're Army and you're staying at a TLA-approved hotel and it's a Marriott or it's a Hilton or whatever, you can obviously get the reward points for those programs as well. So just think about that. We want to maximize this TLA time and money and just profit as much as possible from this big stressful move. So once you get that zero balance statement on your first day of in processing, regardless of branch, you're going to go to two places. You're going to go to the housing office and the finance office. You need to bring that zero balance statement to the finance office. That is what will start your reimbursement for the TLA. Now, full disclosure, just like with everything in the military, you got to hurry up and wait. It is going to take a pay cycle or two longer if you're Navy. Sorry, Navy, but you guys are the worst at refunds for those reimbursements to start hitting your paychecks, which I know can be stressful because 10 days of a hotel is a lot, but your refunds are coming. Now that we've talked about TLA and how to book the hotel and all of that kind of stuff, let's break down per diem, because while you're staying in TLA, you are getting a daily per diem. Now, important note again, because all branches are a little bit different. If you are an Army family, you only get 30 days of TLA. This sort of burns my biscuits a little bit because all branches, when we moved here, all branches got 60 days of TLA, and that is what it says in the joint travel regulation, is that they are allowed to give us 60 days. Over the years, most branches have whittled that down to 45 days, and the Army just went a step further recently and actually lowered it to only 30 days. So if you're an Army family, you have 30 days of TLA. All the other branches, you have 45 days of TLA. While you're staying in TLA, you get a daily per diem. This per diem amount is not a set amount. It is based on your rank, your family size, all that kind of stuff. So you do have to kind of look at the calculators for that. Important to note, while you're staying in TLA and getting reimbursed for the hotel and getting this per diem to help with like food costs and things like that, you're also getting your BAH and your COLA for Hawaii. So while you're staying in TLA and you're getting per diem and you're getting your BAH and you're getting your cost of living allowance, this is really where I like to break down for people that if they're going the home buying route, this is where things get super fun and interesting, and you can really stand to pocket, I would say easily $10,000 to $15,000. And that's because when you're buying a home, you have to go 30 days accruing interest on your new home loan before you can make a payment. So as an example, I have somebody closing on the 9th of the month. Let's just say they're closing on February 9th. There is not 30 days between February 9th and March 1st. So their first mortgage payment is going to be kicked all the way to April 1st. So if that family gets here, let's say January 9th, and they stay in 30 days of TLA, that's 1 month of BAH that they're pocketing for January. And then they're pocketing BAH for February, and they're pocketing BAH and COLA for March. So as an example, even if you're E1 through E4 married and you're getting $3,200 a month, just your BAH alone is almost $10,000 for those 3 months, in addition to your cost of living allowance. Now, all of that being said, I would be absolutely remiss if I just tried to sugarcoat all of this and make it all seem like delightful. And it is a really good opportunity to pocket some serious cash. However, I will fully acknowledge that staying in a tiny hotel room with your pets and your kids for 30 to 45 days, the novelty of that does really wear off. But as you all know, or will get to know, I am Miss Short-term sacrifice, long-term gain. So suck it up, Buttercup. If it is a choice between moving into a rental and paying someone else's mortgage for the 36 months that you're here and giving away over $100,000, or staying in a hotel room, having someone else clean your room and make your bed for 30 to 45 days and getting to pocket $10,000 to $15,000 while choosing to then use your BAH to invest in yourself, I think the right choice is pretty clear, or at least the financially beneficial choice is pretty clear.